4 exam predictions ahead of the ACCA SBL examination for the June 2024 sitting for the company PVS. Hey, my name is James, and I hope I'm not going to get in trouble for recording this video, but I'm going to take you through my exclusive notes and picking up on some areas that if I was in your position sitting the exam, what are my hunches? What do I think might come up? I don't have a crystal ball, so this is my caveat at the start of the video to go, I have no insights or intel or whatsoever, just to be crystal clear so that you know this. It's like, oh, James said this would come up. No, sadly not. But if you would like access to my exclusive notes, click the link in the description of this video below. You can download a copy onto your computer there. I've also got down there for you some Astranti free pre-seen SBL packs, and they've also got mocks that you can actually take up. And for transparency, as always, on the channel, if you were to purchase anything using the links, I'd be entitled to a small commission, which would be to help the actual YouTube channel keep ticking along on there. So thank you very much, as ever, for all the support, and I hope you enjoy the video. As you can see, I'm a bit nervous. I've never done one of these sort of predicting videos, so we're doing a bit on the whim. So number one of my prediction, if I was in your shoes, is adverse publicity. There is so much, and I'm going to show you on the screen where my mouse is, so much is going not to plan with this company, put it that way, for PVS. And the risk register on there hints at they've considered risks about mistakes, diagnosis, treatments on there. And also from an adverse publicity, they state that they don't actually do much marketing, and there are other factors such as the satisfaction of staff and clients going down, staff turnover going up on there as well. So that is one of my key areas or red flags that I just get an inkling that it could be a news article or a blog or a social media post, something like that, that could negatively impact on PVS for when it comes up on the unseen information. Again, it's a complete sort of stab in the dark on these sort of things, but there are other hints that link back to adverse publicity, where we see in the career opportunities at the bottom there, where they want a fulfilling career and it to be the vet organisation for choice for clients and for staff on there. And I'm thinking, there could just be something that could come up that could say it isn't quite good for clients, and it's really not been quite nice for staff. That the atmosphere, and then they give examples like the atmosphere for flexible working hours, market leading salary, something out of those variables could be a sort of thing that you go, hang on a second, I'm not sure about that. And finally, that line at the bottom there, clear strategies in place to have fair pay, fair treatment, stamp out discrimination, and to encourage diversity. These are sort of things that could link into bringing ethics into an answer, and especially the fair treatment, fair play, discrimination, diversity. They've not mentioned it at all anywhere else throughout the pre-seen materials. So again, I'm there thinking it could link into sort of a negative publicity that could come up, and you go, oh, maybe on there that it could relate to it. And if we look at the sort of challenges to the industry as well, from an adverse publicity, 5% of the staff have work-related stress, the staff turnovers at 13%, client loyalty is an all-time low, so you're thinking maybe there's a whistleblower that could come into it. Recruitment and retention of staff, we can keep on getting told, is increasingly difficult, so adverse publicity is just not going to help that at all. And last but not least, we look down at the values of the organisation down here. Honesty and integrity. We are transparent, open, and stand up for what we believe is right. And I go, isn't that sort of like a red flag to the discrimination and encouragement of diversity statement that just what could happen there? And yeah, I just get a feeling on it, and I just go, right, adversity and an adverse publicity is my prediction number one as a sort of area that could come up on there. Number two is health and safety on there. Health and safety. I'm going to come up to the first bit because it's mentioned in costs on page 3. And again, if you've downloaded these notes, you can adapt them yourself, put some more highlights on them. They're really, really helpful. Coming up to costs on here now, we're told about health and safety for example, in relation to the storage of medicine, and we've also got marketing on there. So it's a highlighted cost, but we're not really given any inclination as to the amount they've put into it. Again, they could just throw it out there that they maybe didn't invest a lot. They're really lacking in their technology investment. So maybe they've made cutbacks on other areas such as health and safety on there. And in terms of reading between the lines, they've then mentioned health and safety. You can see where my mouse is in terms of compliance with specific health and safety legislation to protect staff and the general public. For example, on their injuries, bites, the staff, the clients. So again, you're thinking, what if something happened to a client? What if something happened to a member of staff in the workplace that there was negligence, things were not fit for purpose? And this is where, if it was to be tested, you could bring in the HR director on here who is responsible for health and safety. So again, utilizing different areas of the pre-seen materials, throwing in anything else that was unseen if it was to be tested. And last but not least, it was also in the risk register about failure to comply with health and safety legislation. So that is, again, the L of pestle on there from the legal side could be an area. And again, it's all coulds, I don't know, but these are just the things that roll through my mind, that the HR director, it's in their remit, and they should be in charge and held accountable for it. Because in the exam, you've just got to expect that there are things that are not rosy-nosy on there. It's not all going to go to plan. So yes, number 2, health and safety. Number 3 now is relating to staff on there. So we're coming back down to those career opportunities. You could pick out quite a lot on here. And one of the things on here was a market-leading salary. Again, I'll just put my mouse on it on there. We're not given anything in terms of how much they're paying the veterinarians or the vet nurses on there, but they state a market-leading salary. And you go, oh, hang on, how much is it? What's in line? And then they mention generous staff discounts, which again, we've been given no actual indication of what they actually are. Are they actually worth it on there? And especially when, from a staff perspective, we have a look back at the satisfaction scores going down, staff turnover going up. You could just think, that is there going to be something relating to ethics and the staff in there? Maybe there's an integrity or confidentiality breach, or maybe a staff member's being asked to do something that they don't want to do and they have to make their professional judgment on it. Maybe an executive director's involved, something on those lines, that there's got to be a reason for that staff turnover going up so high and the satisfaction going so low. There are, of course, challenges that go with that, because don't overlook in your analysis on there the challenges with work in the industry of Ireland, that they're being asked to do long hours driven by shortages of staff. The veterinarians are having to do overtime, doing the evenings and weekends on rotation. You've got 5% staff absent with work-related stress on there. And then from a recruitment and retention point of view, the demand is only going up because they've got more pets and less demand, less availability, or less supply, should I say, because less people are wanting to become vets, probably because of the actual balance that they're going to get in their lives and the route they're going to have to get there to actually achieve it. So this is where you can refer back to the scenario again: 5 years at university, demanding exams, rigorous on-the-job training, and we might actually have something where maybe a client, a pet owner, is maybe not actually nice to a vet, or some sort of real-life scenario that you in a business situation would have to deal with, maybe in your role in the real world. So could also have an overlap with sort of CSR, those sort of factors, bringing in internal and external stakeholders you'd have to balance in your argument. So that's my sort of area, hunch, tip, inkling number 3, staff on there. Now coming on to number 4, and again, that crystal ball, I've not been rubbing it to come up with all these sort of things. It's just a hunch as I'm reading it through and from the notes. Number 4 is an IPO, so an initial public offering on there, taking the organisation from unlisted to listed on there, because we're specifically told that we've got the 8 directors and pitié who has no more active involvement, no longer involved, still owns a few 11.11% of the shares. And again, we're told, we've got hints that it's obviously unlisted on there. So if it was to become listed, then the number of executive directors and non-executive directors would have to be 50-50 on there, or a balance of equal measures. There are other factors of all equity financed. Again, slight hints of capital structure, and they've already got people in positions, but we're not actually given their names. So they could go into a few more details that so and so, the new CEO, wants to actually, because they're new into the role, actually wants to go and say, right, we're going to go for a public offering and to become a large multinational company through some external investment on there, something on those lines, because they also hint at not having an audit committee, a nomination committee, a remuneration committee, that if you became listed, they would be required in terms of the actual structure, the accountability, and for the annual reports that would have to be published on there. And we've got all the decision making is all centralized, so the directors have control and the say about the new services, salaries, outlook. It just gave me that sort of thing, and I just went, it could happen on there for it. Now, there was another question about non-executive directors when I was actually just about to record this and saying, James, we've got an executive chair here also who has ownership. Shouldn't they be independent? Well, we would then have to consider, do we actually need a non-executive chair? So the executive chair owns shares, and based on the information that we're given, has an active role in the organization and is therefore an employee for them as well, by the looks of it. But again, any assumptions that you make in terms of the way that the business operates, just communicate it to the marker on there as to why you took that initiative for it. And they're just not clear on, well, they haven't got it down as non-executive chair on there as to, are they independent, yes or no. We've only been given that we've got one non-executive director, but no indication of who it is, but there's no overlap, because you can see where my mouse is, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the executive chair is a shareholder and looks to have some involvement within the company itself on that. The other factor, just to mention whilst we're at the end, is I would expect, because as you've seen on my notes, especially if you downloaded them as you go through, pestle, porter, SWOT. One of them will definitely come up on your examination. My inkling is pestle. If I was to rank them, pestle number one, because political factors, we've got the regulation involved on there. We've had economic factors of an oligopoly structure, and they're actually trying to acquire companies. PVS on there. We've got the social factors of the staff, technology, they've got a whole section on it, environmental, the wastage of the business, and the legal aspects we touched on before, from the health and safety and potential lawsuits. Even just me saying it to you, you're probably listening and going, that sounds like it's got a lot to it, James, on there. But the one finally for Porter's Five Forces, we've got sections on suppliers and buyers, and then we've got threats to substitution and new entries, competitive rivalry. Again, those two are the ones where I just go, it's not a bad shout on there. I'd be, if you're planning on doing a mock, and if you want to use the Astranti mock, click the link in the description. That is where there will be a style of question that will look to test you to apply those actual theories on there, and applying it to the scenario is going to be key. And by the looks of it, we've already got enough on there. Students tend to find SWOT analysis the easiest, but nevertheless, it could still be tested. You've got some examples down there at the bottom, but maybe don't overlook the value chain and diamond. But if I was going on a ranking, and I've already done my caveat at the start of this video to say, I don't know what's on the exam, so I'm only guessing here. Pestle and Porter's Five Forces are the two most likely, I would say, on it there. So that is my tip number 4. IPO board structure, with a hint of theory at the end, coming back up to the top, where do not overlook and forget as well, agency theory could definitely be another potential area, along with stakeholders. You'll have to talk about those on your exam, and CSR. And breathe, James, you're okay now. Thank you very much, everyone. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Be sure to give it a like if you thought the tips are helpful. Let me know your predictions in the comments. And if you want access to the exclusive notes, the link is down below, along with those strategy mocks and other resources for you to check out. So the last thing I can say is best of luck with your exam. I'll see you on the other side, and click another video up at the top to help you pass your SBL exam. Best of luck, and I'll see you soon.